Does the real world seem unsatisfying?
It's boring, but it's part of my life.
Well, time to level up and reboot reality. Join Toxic Mike and Demonoid as they explore the ever-evolving world of virtual reality and everything it has to offer. Whether you're just starting out or you've been there from the beginning, Reboot Reality will introduce, educate, and guide you to the best in VR. Find it wherever you get podcasts at toxicradio.net or on the free Toxic Radio app. Reboot Reality. Log in and get immersed. You know what all the cool kids are doing these days? Listening to podcasts. And what does Toxic Radio have? Podcasts, duh.
Just as I thought.
Go to toxicradio.net and check out our weekly schedule for the lineup of great shows. Miss any of them live? No worries.
Thank God, dude.
We're on all the top podcast platforms, or just find them at toxicradio.net or on the free app. The choice is yours. Be cool or not.
We're gonna be cool.
Toxic Radio. Get the podcasts. Get infected. All sports talk shows are the same, right?
I am bothered by everything.
You gotta go back to football school.
The goal of this guy, it's just immeasurable.
Wrong. In a world filled with talking heads more interested in their own celebrity than actually knowing the sports world, it's hard to find the people who really care about sports first. Look no further. Wire to Wire has it all covered. These guys have the knowledge and the cred to back up their opinions. No hot takes to get attention, just straight up opinions. Know anyone else who correctly called the 2020 World Series and March Madness? How about 70% on the NFL and NCAA football last year? You don't. Bottom line, these guys know their shit. They aren't doing it for attention, they're doing it for passion. Wire to Wire, live every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, only on Toxic Radio and wherever you find podcasts.
Hungry for Hope Nation, we are live from Toxic Radio Studio. I am your host of Hungry for Hope, Donnie Hart, and I am joined by my oh so wonderful, oh so amazing co-host Angela.
Hello. Hello everyone. How we feeling today?
How you doing, Angela? That's a better question.
I'm feeling fantastic. Like I say, I usually don't go down until Thursday. They give me enough of that good medicine that keeps me kind of pumped and antsy until then. So I feel pretty good.
So you just got done your round seven of chemotherapy yesterday?
Yesterday. Yep. Yesterday. Round 8 is scheduled for May 31st. Of course, it's right after the Memorial Day holiday, so no big plans for me, I guess. And that will be round 8, which means after I complete round 8, we have scans. We do scans and tests again. So hopefully that is the following week. And then hopefully we're not waiting that long again this time for my results. And then we'll wait for those results and make further decisions going forward after that.
So take us through, how chemotherapy was this time. How everything went for anybody wondering.
So we are officially on what they are calling maintenance chemo. So they took out the most toxic chemo med that I get, which is the carboplatin. So we're going to see if this maintenance chemo, we do 4 rounds of that, and we'll see if maintenance chemo is enough to continue slowing the spread, and hopefully it is. And if not, then we have to talk about reintroducing carboplatin potentially and whatever else. So it's really every round of chemo is a decision that I make all the way up until the last second of walking in there. So fingers crossed. I think it's going to be a good scan, just like we had. My first set of scans was good.
So anything noticeable that changes from first round to the 7th round?
I mean, after my 4th round, I want to say I really started, maybe 3rd round, I started noticing that, my breathing was not as labored, not as wheezy. I did notice that, I was able to at least lay on my right side occasionally for a couple minutes. My swallowing, I can swallow food so much better. I still have like weird times where, like today, I was having a little difficulty swallowing, but I don't know if that's from the chemo or something else. I do have fluid back in my lungs, so after, the 8th round of chemo, we will do the scans and see what that looks like. And I really don't want to have to get my lungs drained, but I kind of feel, just because I am having ribcage pain more than usual when I take a deep breath in, that hopefully, but maybe not. So fingers crossed.
So tell us what everybody wants to know about. You do your videos for anybody listening. Every chemo, you do a video. You've done one when you go to chemotherapy. You try to bring humor. You try to, bring the mood to a different mood. Chemotherapy can bring people down. It's not something that brings joy to a lot of people. So you try to change the narrative, and you do these videos, these videos where you roller skate into the chemotherapy. You dress up your machine. You dress up, and you dance and you sing. What video did you do this time? Tell us more about that.
I did, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I did bring a guest in. I hope you don't mind. So I just want everyone to see our guests. So thank you to the Bee Gees, even though you did block my video because I do not own the rights to your music. I still wanted to bring you in and show you some love. And he really is a sexy man, I have to say. And women love this dude. But this was the most difficult video I have ever done out of all of my videos for many different reasons. First of all, I had to get all of the costume stuff ready, and I knew I wanted chest hair, and I knew I wanted the lion gold chain, and I knew I wanted the beard and all of this. But the thing was, I had my friend Jen, I have to give it to her because she really helps me make these ideas come to life, and I have it all in my head, and she comes in with me. I said, listen, I want 3 takes. One of the takes are just me tapping my foot with these new boot goofins, which I call them, and the other one is a slow motion so everyone see the chest hair and the lion gold chain, and then the next take is going to be, and I knew I wanted to do it in the hallway, which meant I couldn't have music blaring, so I had to figure out a way how I can listen to the music, but no one else can hear the music because I had to get my movements down packed because I knew I was going to go home and edit everything and put it all together and add the music, but my mannerisms and my dance moves had to match the song. So I had my wireless beats on, with the afro, the sunglasses, and I didn't realize that I can hear the music, but no one else is going to hear this music. The nurse is watching, Jen taking the video. All they're going to hear, and see is this chick dancing to nothing in the hallway. But afterwards,
there's the video.
Yeah,
there's some pictures of it.
Yeah.
So take us through this video. How'd you do this? This is you at chemotherapy, round 7 of chemo.
Yes. So, I get all dressed, and I am dressed to the T, and I didn't realize how it was hot as hell because I have a beard. Now, mind you, I have 0 lung capacity as it is, right? So now my head is fully covered, my eyes are covered, my nose is covered with all of this bearded hair and mustache. I'm in a fluorescent silver jumpsuit with these ankle boots, and the lighting in the hallway is just shining down on me, and I am realizing that I'm having such a hard time breathing. And then I also didn't compensate for the fact that I usually always kind of compensate for the chemo machine itself, but I started off nervous because that chemo machine, the IV running from the chemo machine, is needle based right into my chest. So I started off thinking, oh shit, I have to be careful here because the last thing I want to do is knock this IV, just pull it out of my chest. So I got a lot more comfortable. There was at one point during the video that the chemo machine, kind of started running away and turning from me. And I just compensated for that. And I don't think anyone really noticed that. And the ending to that video was potentially my favorite. part of that video. But afterwards, you know, there was people watching that I didn't know were watching, because apparently I had stopped right by this window, you know, where there was a bunch of nurses, and they're just watching me from this window. And I didn't see them because I'm focusing on my dance moves. Like, I'm getting this video done and I can't breathe worth of shit. So afterwards, you know, I take my headphones off, I stop the music. My friend Jen is just laughing hysterically. She's like, all you hear are your boots and your labored breathing. So it's like clickety clack, and this girl just dancing. And this is all you hear is like my labored breathing. And one of the nurses was like, that was fantastic, but are you okay? Like, do you need some oxygen? Because you sounded like you were dying. You know, and then the people who were watching out of this room, and I had no idea, they come out and they're just clapping. They're like, that was amazing. And you know, that right there. And a couple of the nurses, like, as soon as I walked in, they're like, we were checking the schedule. We always check the schedule to see when you're coming in, because we can't wait to see what you have planned, and we can't wait to see you. And right then I realized, you know, I'm really making these nurses smile, and I'm making their day. And that's everything to me, not just the people who are watching and laughing on social media, you know, because these nurses, this is what they do all day. They're treating to sick people, and they're giving chemo to people who, you know, who are in some really bad shape, and they see young people and they see older people, and sometimes their patients, you know, pass away and they no longer see those people. So I'm really making their day as well.
And now, what gave you for anybody listening, you talked about it some, what gave you the inspiration to make these chemotherapy videos, Angela? It kind of started with Valentine's Day, because, you know, and we were still in the midst of COVID, and I was going by myself. The first 3 treatments, I was going by myself, and I just figured, you know, like, how funny it would potentially be. And before that, I did a video about my port, if you haven't saw that, because I was super nervous about getting my port put in, because it's like anything, I can't even want to talk about it. I haven't even made eye contact with the port, and touching it, it's like a doorbell. Like, I call it my doorbell, because it protrudes from my chest, and I can see it and I can feel it. And in the shower, I won't rub the soap on there. I'll rub it above and just kind of let the water, because it's protruding from the chest. So I made a video about that. For anybody who's not familiar with that, can you tell us what the purpose of this is, how that?
Yeah, so you for someone like me, who I don't have, you know, some people have specific rounds of chemo. Some people might only have to do 3 rounds of chemo. I'm on chemo for life, or until I say stop. And you can't put, you know, that kind of poison through the veins. So the chemo goes directly into the port. There's a catheter, goes up through my neck, and it's really cool to see when you look at the x-ray, and you can see the catheter and the port, and it goes all through, you know, the chest cavity and the arteries, and that's where you get your chemo. Blood work, for my scans, they give me IVs and things like that. That all goes through the arms, but the port is really where I get all my IV chemo. So it started off with a port video, and then I figured, what's more fitting than talking about a toxic relationship, because I went on Valentine's Day. That was my first video, and there were so many funny, sarcastic comparisons between a toxic relationship and that chemo machine that I introduced to the world and made it Facebook official, that we've been dating for 2 months now. And, you know, there was a bunch of red flags with this dude. So that was my first video. The staying alive video, actually, I'm getting requests. And I'm trying to incorporate I just got a couple of requests today. I got a couple of requests last night. People are starting to shoot me these requests. So I'm trying to incorporate everything creative. But the staying alive was a request by like 7 different people. And I said, I got to bring it to them. And, you know, it took me a while on Amazon to get everything, you know, I wanted. I went to Party City. I got the beard, the chest hair. You know, there's a lot that goes into these videos, a lot of preparation. But this was the most difficult video I've done, breathing wise.
So do you usually come up with the idea of these videos from other people, yourself, a combination?
So every video I've done, except for staying alive, The Sonny and Cher one, which was my other one, I came up that idea on my own. And usually these ideas just come to me when I'm having a very hard time sleeping, and then they'll just pop into my head. Then I'm on Amazon and I'm trying to get the ideas. I'm watching videos. I'm practicing. Like, there's a lot of thought that comes into this. I know that I'm getting a lot of requests to bring the roller skates back. I do have another couple of ideas that I'm looking into, and I definitely, people like, send me requests and I'll make something happen, because like I said, it's not like I'm only doing 12 rounds of this. We got a couple long hauls to do, especially if I just decide after my scan results to keep on kind of doing this.
So you bringing the roller skates back? Is that what you're trying to say?
I definitely want to bring the roller skates back, but I just can't really find, some of the songs that I am finding, there's too much profanity. So, I mean, I don't think people are really going to, I don't think I'm going to top my first roller skating video no matter what I do. I'm going to try, and hopefully I don't break my neck trying to do that, though.
So while you're over at chemotherapy, fighting the good fight, we have another guy we'd like to talk about who can't join us because he's 5 a.m. where he is. He's on the other part of the world. Jim Raffone, me and you have been talking about him this week. He just went to Mount Everest, and he climbed up to the first base camp on Mount Everest. This is one of many trips, endurance things he's done. He's done a lot of runs. He even got in the boxing ring. He's done all these feats all in the name of his son, James Anthony Raffone, who's 13 years old and has, tell us about the disease he has. You're the smart one.
He has, so it's, in short, it's DMD. So it's a Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It is not necessarily the muscular dystrophy that the majority of us know and what we see on television. This is one of the rarest diseases on earth, and it really only affects children. Children are born with it, mostly boys. Only one in about 3,500 live births. There definitely is no cure, but there continues to be more and more active research to help give these children a more independent and hopefully increased lifespan. It really is a progressive, really sad, heartbreaking disease for children. They don't make it to adulthood. Usually by age 11 to 12, the ability to walk is lost, and that results in the need for a wheelchair. They're by mid-teens, we're talking about ventilators, breathing apparatuses are required. It affects the heart, breathing muscles, the respiratory system. They often lose their upper body strength, and such as their ability to move their arms and upper extremities. Really, in their early teens, late teens to early 20s, most have passed away, with the most common death being suffocation. So, we're talking about James Anthony Raffone. He was diagnosed with this horrible disease when he was 4 years old. And the result basically was Jar of Hope.
Yeah, so back in 2013, Jim Raffone and his wife Karen, they went to the doctors, and like you should describe this disease, they basically told him there was no hope. They told him and Karen there was no hope, and basically just bring him home, just love him until he dies. And Jim and Karen decided, that wasn't what they were going to do. They weren't going to wait for him to die. That wasn't an option. So they founded Jar of Hope, not just for him, but for all the other kids out there fighting this same thing. And since 2013, they've raised $8 million, a little over $8 million probably now, in doing these things. He's done ultra marathons. He did one from New Zealand to Australia. It was 312 miles in 12 days. He did the Grand 171 race. It's 171 miles over 7 days in the Grand Canyon. He's gotten in a boxing ring. He's gone to Mount Everest. He's done a lot of crazy feats, all to raise awareness and money to not just help his son, but to help others fight in this, all through Jar of Hope in his son James Anthony Raffone's honor. So it's Pretty amazing stuff, right? Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of muscle dystrophy. I'm familiar. I have family members who have it. And I have not heard of this. It's not, really known. And I did research on this, and in my research, it really is, for families to watch their children go through this. It's, and forgive me, guys, because I get super emotional and sensitive right after chemo, and I'm not trying to ugly cry on you. It is just no one wants to watch their children suffer with anything. But this specific DMD is just horrific to watch your child to go through. So this jar of hope is super important, and what they are doing is just simply amazing, and there's more active research now because of that.
So just me and you both never heard of this until, without Jar of Hope, without Jim Raffone, without James Anthony Raffone, without Karen, without all the people who've helped them along the way, there's just two people who now know about this, can support, can help show awareness, can show these people they're not the only ones fighting this. And now imagine, they raised over $8 million. He's traveled all over the world, literally raising awareness. This is kind of how they found hope in something that they knew at the end. They knew what the end result is going to be, but they were able to find hope in, a spot where other people might have been hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't... Even with my kind of situation, cancer, I mean, the movies, television, you don't see this stuff. And if you do, it's not portrayed correctly or accurately. I just had someone say, oh, I thought, chemotherapy patients lose weight. I had to explain to someone the other day, the cancer itself made me lose weight. The chemotherapy, and that's why I think I look so good that people say, oh, you look great, you don't look sick, which is great, thank you. But a lot of people don't know I went into chemo extremely malnourished. And I was 105 pounds, which for my height and my athleticism, it was, like I said, I was highly stressed. I was not eating. And that's another reason why I got sick. And then, the doctor's like, you need to increase your weight before you even start this, which I tried. But anyway, I had to explain to her, all of my chemo meds have made me gain a significant amount of weight. So, you don't see the bones in my face much anymore. So, things aren't portrayed accurately, and that's why people are so mistaken about the facts when it comes to things of this nature. And I've never seen, and I've watched a lot. I do a lot of research. YouTube, Netflix has a lot of good documentaries when it comes to diseases and stuff, and I have not come across anything that depicts this Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
I think that's one of the big reasons Jim and Karen decided to, they weren't just doing it for their kid. They're raising awareness and funds for all the other families all across the world. Because, like you said, there's so many people who don't know what it is, and everybody handles different. Tragic. It's a traumatic event for parents to be told their young son. How old was he? You said when
he was 4 when he was diagnosed. 4
yeah,
years old.
when you're told your 4-year-old son is not going to make it to 20 and he has the disease you can't beat. That can put people in a hopeless spot. That can take away a lot of hope and leave you in a bad spot. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and something like that can definitely crush somebody's mental health. Also common, we see traumatic events in people's lives cause them to, go in a bad place. But instead of going in that bad place, Jim and Karen decided to take James Anthony Raffone's name, make Jar of Hope, make it for all the, they really stress the fact it's not just for him, it's for all the other people out there, all the other families, all the other children going through this, the families who are fighting it. And, now the guy's ran ultra marathons. He's ran from all across Australia, the Grand Canyon. He just went to Mount Everest. I think he's actually on the plane back as we speak.
Yeah, that's why he's not here with us today. So we're going to introduce him. We're going to have him in, but, you're not going to be able to come in or talk to us when you are doing such a good deed and climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah, it was just a story we felt like we had to tell. Regardless, anybody can look it up. JAR, Jar, it's the initials of James Anthony Raffone, Jar of Hope. Jim Raffone. They're on social media. You can Google them. They've had stories written all over. Like I said, this guy has ran, he has boxed, he has climbed, he has crawled. He has done everything to take, these are people who went to the doctors with their 4-year-old son and were told, take him home and love him and watch him die. And they refused to do that. They decided to do something different. And here we are all these years later. They've raised over $8 million. Jim's just getting done his trip to Mount Everest, and they're getting national news about it. Anybody watching the video, you can see a lot of the stuff of Jar of Hope versus Mount Everest. It's pretty awesome. Definitely check them out. Definitely check out Jim's story. We're gonna love to have him on the show when he gets back. We're gonna keep on spreading James Anthony Raffone's story, all the other children fighting it. But it just tells you can find hope in even the most hopeless situations. Even finding out your small son isn't gonna live to be as old as you. When you're gonna have to watch him die, basically, you can still find hope.
Yeah.
So anybody out there going through some kind of tragic thing, just remember, somebody has it worse. You can find, no matter how low you are, no matter how bad the situation is, no matter how traumatic, man, I've seen people find that hope in the most hopeless situations.
And I'll tell you what, you look up the foundation, you look on the internet, you see the pictures of Jar of Hope, you look on their social media, and there's nothing but smiles. This little boy is just smiling from ear to ear, and the positivity that he has in his little face and his family smiling around him, how hard that is to maintain that positive mindset, that positive outlook, and that hope that, there is no cure, but this is why we fight. And it's a sight to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, anybody out there going through tough times, just remember these parents who were told they're got to go home and watch their kid die, basically. And, they decided to find the hope anyway. So just remember Jim and Karen Raffone and the courage they showed and how they found hope in such a hopeless spot. And let yourself know you can find that same hope no matter how bad life seems. And it definitely gets better. Just never give up hope. Right? Jar of Hope.
I mean, like we say, right? We're just we're all staying alive here, right? Staying alive. I can't hit the high notes like this guy, though. I mean, that's for sure. So that's why I just did the dance. I wasn't going to try to lip sync that at all.
So, getting back to the hope, a lot of people know, we've gone out, we've done some stuff with Hungry for Hope in the community. We go out to Kensington, we feed the homeless. When we go out there, we've gone out with Empowering Cuts, too. We've gone out there with ourselves. We've gone out with a couple other groups and fed the homeless, clothed them, did the haircuts, all that good stuff. Right on Kensington and Allegheny, we set up there right next to the train station with all of our stuff. And, last night I put the news on, and a car goes 110 miles per hour.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Right into, where we set up our tables, where we've been a lot, where our guest Destiny, who's on all the time, Destiny Campanella, a couple other of our guests who are out there, Josh Santiago's out there. A lot of these guests, they do outreach in Kensington, and not just Kensington, but Kensington and Allegheny, that corner right there where this car went. Like you saw the video, it was 110 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And that just tells you at any moment your life can be precious. Your life's precious and it can be taken. I just saw that, and that kind of took me about just seeing how precious life is. I think 3 people died in it.
Yeah, there was 2 pedestrians and the driver himself died.
Yeah, so, life's precious. I just want everybody to remember that, especially during Mental Health Awareness Month, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't watch the news, I read the news. I'm more of a reader than a watcher. And the amount of fatal car accidents in New Jersey, Philadelphia have been just mind-blowing, and the unnecessary violence and taking of life. And it has just been, COVID itself, every day since this pandemic, and all of us trying to live through this pandemic and all the unrest, and and looking out now, people are struggling with baby formula, which is they got to feed their babies. So now there's panic with that. I mean, the stress that is occurring in our world is very unfortunate and very sad, and there needs to be a lot more mental health awareness and services provided, because they're short-staffed as well. That's my field, and I'm telling you, even for myself, who I'm a therapist, I'm getting pretty close to the point where I'm starting to process a lot more things, and I'm starting to, this whole experience for me since November is starting to catch up. So, I, as a therapist, I'm going to have to put my big girl pants on and become the patient at some point. I do need some assistance in that area, because, once I start to cry in public for no reason, I know that there's something wrong. But needless to say is that there's a waiting list, and then there's people where we're short-staffed. We can only do this for you. We can only do that. And then I'm thinking, well, shit, by that time, I'm going to be freaking dead. I mean, so there really has to be a lot more staff and a lot more resources and outlets. And that has been like this. The mental health field has been like this for more than 10 years. Add a pandemic and short staffing, it's 1,000 times worse.
I thought I was your therapist.
Yeah.
I thought we did sessions every Wednesday, 7 to 8.
You wish. You call me. And
But so you bring up mental health. You bring up that all this stuff going on in the world today, that stuff that can cause a lot of people depression and stuff in their life to, have them react, their mental health, take a turn for the worse. So with your background and all that, Angela, and everything, if somebody does notice somebody they really care about, they notice they might have some mental health problems, they might need some help, what should they do? What do you recommend? If somebody they really care about and they notice, they're not an expert, they're not a doctor, but they do notice some signs.
I would do some research in area. I mean, it's a simple Google, mental health services near me, and everything will pop up that's available. There is that suicide hotline that we've posted up here before, but you definitely, it's something you want to take notice of. I know some people are hesitant because if you're not familiar, it's uncomfortable for people to talk about mental health, and but there's a couple telltale signs, and some people, like I just told my poor friend Jen, I put her through so much. She's such a good champ. We're sitting at the diner after chemo yesterday, and I just start crying hysterically, like in front of people. I don't care who's watching. I ugly cried, and that was the second day during chemo that I cried to her. And she listened to me, and she made some really good suggestions, and there's a lot of resources on Google that can also assist you with helping someone who is potentially telling you they're unhappy, or they seem unhappy, or things have changed, and it'll give you the right tools and words to say. The one thing you don't want to do is to ignore.
Yeah, especially even if somebody is their self going through, they might, sometimes we do notice something's wrong with our mental health for whatever reason. I feel like they can open up to somebody they really trust, somebody they love, somebody that they know really cares for them, and just open up that dialogue and tell them. Because so many times, like two of the closest people in my life, they're people, from the outside, sometimes they look like they have great lives, they're young, just awesome people, and they're both, battling in psychiatric hospitals right now, and they're people you wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't know. I posted that thing the other day. You don't know. Sometimes the strongest people, the people with the biggest smile, mm-hmm. The people you least expect are the people. So, open up a dialogue with somebody you trust, and maybe they can help you get help. You don't have to do it by yourself. And maybe they've gone through it before. Maybe somebody they loved gone through it. Maybe they know the proper steps. That girl who passed away, I posted it on Hunger for Hope yesterday. Arlena Miller. She was a
Yes.
freshman cheerleader in college. Beautiful young lady. Seemed, she's a freshman in college. She's cheerleading. Seemed from the outside, all of her pictures had big smiles and everything. And, she posted on Instagram basically her goodbye and then committed suicide. And then, she really asked people to check on people. That was her, like, goodbye, to check on people, even if they seem strong, to check on people you love and to make sure they're okay. Because, sometimes we go through these things that you had mentioned in life, and it just seems like there's no hope. You have a guy and a wife who were told their kid, they're going to watch their kid die. You can't get much hopeless than being told that. And they didn't let that defeat them. How you have handled your stage 4 lung cancer, no matter what it is in life, it might look bad today, but you can get through it. You don't have to do it by yourself. Open up dialogue with somebody. All the other great stuff I'm sure Angela can tell you to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just like, hey, you seem down, or the one thing you don't want to do is ignore something, but you also don't want to, say, hey, I kind of notice, I think you have, a personality disorder or bipolar disorder. Like, you don't want to say that shit. You know what I mean?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I am talking. I'm talking to you.
Who are you talking to? You talking to me?
Narcissism? No. Such a sweet dude you are. But,
sweet-
because you're not
Call
not a
me Candy.
clinician. So sometimes it's just like, hey, how are you today? And, they might be able to open up to you, or just, hey, just checking in. Could be a simple text message, or maybe they're more comfortable texting, but you just don't want to ignore it. I mean, if you notice something, speak up, but there's a lot of resources to give you, the do's and don'ts of doing that.
Especially, you see so many people, even some of the stuff we do, some of the former guests, some of the people we come across, a lot of them are fighting stuff, demons like substance abuse and stuff like that. And you see, I've seen it so many times. I've seen people, try to fight their, first off, Destiny Campanella always says it, when people are doing some kind of stuff to harm themselves, like doing drugs, she never says what. She always says why. There's usually a why. People just don't pick up drugs and, slowly kill themselves on drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, unless there was a why. There's some kind of traumatic event. There's some kind of thing in their past. So often you see these people get off drugs, whatever, and they don't fix the underlying problems that cause that.
There's always a primary. Always a primary, and the primary is never substance use disorder. You just don't wake up one morning and say, you know what, I want to be a cocaine addict. I think it's a perfect morning to do so. It doesn't
was a beautiful
happen.
morning,
It
though.
was
It
a
was a
beautiful
beautiful
morning. I will say, but it wasn't, people don't wake up. That's never, ever a primary issue. That's
I hung out with some
secondary.
crazy guys back in my day.
Yeah, but you dig into their past, there's going to be something, a history of trauma, whatever that may be. And there's always something, because there is a huge stigma, especially among different cultures, of getting mental health help and being on medications. I mean, it's still very prevalent today. I mean, look at Robin Williams. Look what happened to him. One of the funniest dude, always a smile on his face. And then when, he had committed suicide, people were just shocked.
Yeah, I always go back to even, it was fictional, but Tony Soprano, that whole Sopranos was really based off this mob boss who was supposed to be this powerful man. You call mob boss, you call it any person, any kind of leadership role. They were saying he questioned his ability to lead and be a man because he was going to therapy. It was fictional, but it was very, very, a lot of truth to it. And that was back starting in the late 90s. Times have changed, but, he was hiding going to this therapist because he was scared, the way people react and everything. I definitely think times have changed, especially with how the stigma towards I'm a man, so all I know is being a male. The stigma towards males and everything. There's no shame. It should be looked at as something as a strength, taking care of yourself. Because, man, you can't get your mental health right. You can't do that. You can't do anything else in life. You're no good to anybody else. And it's going to just lead you down a hopeless path. So there's no stigma in that, right, Ange?
Well, I mean, but then, there's also a huge cultural stigma. I mean, even though, yeah, things are a little different today, we still have parents, I know the Spanish community is big on that. A lot of African American communities are big on that. And then now, you're like, I know I need help. And I just saw a really good commercial for it with this guy struggling with a bench press and he's choking himself. And the guy's like, hey, do you need help? He's like, nope. I don't need help. I've
never struggled with a bench press in my life. I'll tell you that. But that's just me.
That's just you.
Never saw weight I couldn't press.
Well, shit. Look, my bench press I thought was a pulled muscle, but it was stage 4 lung cancer. So, but anyway, and the guy's like, no, I think you really need help. And he's like, I don't want my parents to know. So it's there's still a lot of that stigma. I mean, I'm sure the Greeks just put man up and put some Windex on that and you'll be fine.
Yanni, that was a shot at Yanni the Greek. Yanni, you listening to this?
Listen, I put Windex on everything and it seems to freaking work, but just not the mental health piece. So, there's still a lot of that stigma. And then, people who are in relationships, now you have to, who knows who you're in a relationship with. I mean, there's still a lot of stigma and a lot of prideful people when it comes to getting the mental health services that are needed.
The beast from the Northeast, Raymond, says change comes within. It's an inside job, he says. I like that, Raymond.
I like that too, Raymond. And it's true. But sometimes, so in my career, right, for a therapist, I am a cognitive behavior therapy. That's the track that I go. And our view is the change is coming from you. You know the answers, and we're simply here to promote that change within you. You're doing all the work. You just need that professional who knows how to bring that change out of you. And a lot of people, that's where they need that push, and that's where they need that help to, the answer. We are just here to help you with finding that answer and giving you the tools to make that change. So I think a lot of people aren't familiar either with the different kinds of therapy modalities and views that are out there. They just need to find the right one, whether it be CBT, behavioral, EMTR, whatever, you just have to do that research to find the best one for you. And you may go to a therapist and hate them, and you may shop around for a therapist, but it has to be someone who you like and connect with.
Absolutely. And now Chucky Martell's watching. He had a question for you, Angela. He wanted to know, last week you had his friend Kelly Collins on the show from Deadliest Catch. He said, well, what do you think of Kelly? What do you think of Kelly's story? Anybody didn't watch? Kelly was on Deadliest Catch season 10. Quite a character on there.
I loved him so much. I mean, and it was all the way down from the accent. Like, I thought it was super cool.
Louisiana born, Alabama bred too.
Yeah, totally. And you can tell the difference between New Jersey, we're all fast, and mean. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to go fishing and we're going to call it a good positive day. And, we're just going to catch around here. And, but I think my joke about my Deadliest Catch application went past all of you guys because it wasn't to be on the Deadliest Catch. I just have a different show. I'm a Deadliest Catch now. That's my application.
It just went
I thought that was funny. I think it went past you because he was like, no, baby girl, there ain't no application process. No one's going to get your application, baby girl.
He was trying to help you get on the show.
Oh, I thought he was great. I would love to have him in person. So if you're listening, Kelly, we would love to have you in person.
It was pretty interesting, him telling, how Hollywood kind of can paint a different picture. If you look up some stuff on him, he's definitely a different person than you would expect. And being on that show, living, that's the traumatic stuff. He saw, I think, 4 people die while he was out there. It's the deadliest job in the world.
It is. And like we said, what you see on TV, what you see, on movies, and, I'm still on medical leave from work, so I've been binge watching Married at First Sight, which is a total train wreck, but you just can't look away. And what you see on TV is not always what you get. And even the stuff you find on the internet is so hypocritical. I know when I was first researching my stuff, it talked about, yeah, sorry, sweetheart, you're only going to live 3 months. And, and it was like, oh my God. And then the next, research article I looked was like, yeah, 12 months maybe. So there's things are portrayed so terribly, So what you saw on Deadliest Catch with him is not who Kelly is true at heart at all.
And I thought it was pretty amazing. He got 57 months. He was something with making a machine gun and all that good stuff. Doesn't matter, not here or there.
I wonder who ratted on him, or did Kelly? So Kelly, you have to answer this question because I never asked
Some low-life scumbag.
Did you just make it and go around and say, "Hey, look what I got," and not use it, and someone ratted on you? So I'm not sure how that happened.
But he got 57 months regardless in federal prison. So he went from Deadliest Catch, he had some people knew who he was, just from being on that show. It was a pretty big time show. Wasn't a star, but he was a cast member on a hit show. So he went from that to 57 months in federal prison. You can't get much different than being on Discovery Channel. To that prison, he lost everything. He went in there. He was battling some stuff back home. He had kids. But the one thing he really stressed was once he got in that environment, he was in federal prison. He was a guy who went from people knowing his name, being on TV, being on a hit show, having a job, doing the Deadliest Catch Fisherman, all that stuff they do, very high-paying job, to, just an inmate, and not just any inmate, an inmate in federal prison doing 57 months. And he said as soon as he got there, he read a lot. He didn't let his environment change him. He decided, he was going to get out, and he was going to do good, and he was going to change. And I think he really put that point across. No matter where you are in life, you can be in the ghetto, you can be in jail, you can be in rehab, you can be anywhere. If you have that mindset, nobody can change your mindset. No matter if you're in a prison, wherever, if you put in your mind that you're gonna change, you're gonna do good, it's baby steps. He talked about just doing the little stuff. Even Tony Hoffman, when he was on here, Tony Hoffman was one of our guests. He went from prison to the Olympics, and he just said the little stuff. He would wake up and make his bed better than anybody. He'd wake up in jail and brush his teeth better than anybody, and do the little things, because little things lead to what, Ange?
Big things, right?
Oh, man, you're
hope.
Good.
Big things and hope.
Yeah, but
Did I tell you that my palliative care nurse, her name is Hope?
Yeah.
How
is she coming on the show?
She comes. I'll ask her. She's coming to see me 2 weeks. I see her once to twice every month, and her name is Hope. So I thought it was very fitting. I could ask Hope to come on. She is a great time. She is funny. And that's another reason why I haven't really looked out for therapy, because that palliative nurse, she comes, she takes my vitals. So the palliative care is basically what they give you with this stage of cancer before hospice.
Well,
so
you get us Hope's info. We'll send her to the proper channels to get on the Hunger for Hope show.
Yeah,
the multiple
she's great,
background checks she has to go through, the multiple people she has to pass to get a chance. You have to actually fail the background check to get on the show. That's part of it. If you pass the background check, we give you somebody else's number for a different show, and no hard feelings or nothing. We
want the savage people. We want savages.
Kelly did 57 months. He made machine guns. What have you done?
I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I talk about it, I have to kill you.
Can you top a machine gun of 57 months for machine guns?
We're gonna have to kill him if we tell him what I did. And what I plan to do, even, depending on what these scans show and how many months I'm thinking I got. So I got plans. Got big plans.
You got big plans? When's the next big update, the scan with?
So, on my cancer support group, it looks like people have been waiting. Because remember my last set of scans, it should only take 3 to 5 days. And it took more than a week. And all of us were just anxious about that. And so I'm hoping we do round 8. That's scheduled for May 31st. that following week I should be scheduled, unless things are backed up, to go back in to get my scans done. And then hopefully no more than 5 days after that, I'm hoping to have my scans. So, but things are just so significantly backed up, and I'm hoping that, I have my scans before I have to because there's a lot of other things coming up that I have to make decisions about, that I'm waiting for those scan results in order to make a decision. So hopefully it's not too long. Anything
you want to share
about
decisions you're making?
The decisions. So, I mean, one is work, and I really don't want to talk about that because I want to work, right? But my work is not a regular 9 to 5. My work is a very challenging, stressful job. And
were you on Deadly Sketch?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of what it's called.
Hopefully, Kelly put your application, and hopefully you hear back. That'd be something different.
I mean, it is. So, and my oncologist is the one who encouraged me to be out of work. He said, "There's no way that you're going to be able to do this while doing that kind of job." And, we're talking about being on call 24 hours a day, and, even your salary. So yeah, you're only paid 9 to 5, but I'm telling you, when you are working 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and, you're trying to take a shower, your on-call's going off, 2 a.m., the on-call is going off. Now I have to stay up later because you got some kind of missing patient and you're calling the police, and there's 3 other people you have to report this. It is just hellish. And don't get me wrong, I love my job. I've been doing that job for 15 years. I am good at it. I love the people. I love my consumers. I miss them something terrible. But my oncologist is Dr. Rockowitz is amazing. He said, "Listen, I'm a big supporter of people working. I think it's good for their health, but you are potentially my only patient. I would like to stay out of work for as long as possible." I do have the option to collect, just with my diagnosis alone, permanent disability. With my diagnosis and my timeline. The issue with that is, if I decide to do that, I can get a part-time job, just as long as I don't reach a certain dollar amount threshold. But the issue with that is that I will lose all my medical benefits. I need the medical benefits whether or not I'm on chemo. The chemo, of course, to pay for, even though it's not really paying that much, I still have fees out my hiney. And if I decide to stop chemo, then I'm going to need the medical attention because other symptoms are going to come up, and I'm going to need, lung drainage and all that. So, and you can't get state insurance. You have to be on permanent disability for 2 full years in order to get state Medicaid. I don't have 2 full years. So apparently to my timeline, and who knows, I may be a baby Jesus miracle and make it 2.5 years. Who knows? The big man upstairs is going to have the final word. So, work decisions. I can tell you right now, I don't want to be on chemo for the rest of my life. I'm tired of the poking and prodding. I'm tired of the scans. Yes, it's helping me. I feel so much better, but there's other issues that I don't necessarily talk about when it comes to this chemo and the symptoms, and I'm not feeling comfortable in my own skin, and not being able to pack a bag, and go somewhere if I want to go somewhere because I'm on a schedule, and not being able to leave the house on a beautiful day because, I'm stuck in bed from the chemo. So there's a lot that goes into that. But I'm telling you right now, I cannot do this. We're only on round 7 and I've had enough. So there's a lot of decisions to make.
So you're going through all this. We talked a lot about the show, the mental health awareness and everything, but you've still been able to stay positive. You've been able to do these videos. You've been able to uplift people through your darkest hours. I know we've asked you, is there anybody else out there going through, struggling right now? Anybody, like you said, there's so much going on in the world, a lot of stuff to cause people to be down and out and to feel hopeless. What would our little warrior, Angela, what would you tell them?
The
Words
thing,
of hope.
you really got to take it. Yeah, you really got to take it day by day. And for those who see me on social media and, they think I look good, they think I feel good. you don't see the nights that I am going to bed crying. You don't see, me having a moment in the shower because my hair is falling out, something terrible. You don't see, I don't make my bed anymore because it's just, I have hair everywhere. The other night I woke up and turned my kitchen light on and I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't recognize what kind of insect was on my kitchen floor, but I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to have to kill this. I don't know what it is. So I get a paper towel and I'm getting closer and I'm like, oh, it's just a massive pile of my hair. Who knows when it came out and who knows where it came from. It was just a big pile of my hair. So of course I had a moment. I think I would have been more comfortable. It was like a big spider and I would just kill it. But, people aren't supposed to see that. But I do believe in a higher power. And I do, say my prayers. Music is helping, of course, as long as it's upbeat music. You don't want to listen to that sad shit because then you're just going to cry. There are the people who reach out to me. I mean, I'm hearing just like, the one guy I told you at the bank, I went to the bank to take care of something. And at the very end, he's like, hey, I saw your video on social media. It was fantastic. It was really good. And I didn't think he recognized me. Like, and now I'm kind of being recognized and it's super. And this is why I do what I do. You know what I mean? But people don't see the moments, but I literally, for me, every day, like I just have to be thankful for waking up every day and it could always be worse too, right? For me, it could always be worse. I could be completely bald, which I'm not there yet, knock on wood, we'll see. I am able to do a lot of things that people who have my diagnosis can't or won't do. But a lot of it is inner strength, and a lot of people aren't aware that they have that natural born inner strength until they absolutely need to use it. And that's what I've been using.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes and favorite people is Tyson Fiore. We talk about him. He's a heavyweight boxer. He just won again. Amazing boxer. But one of his quotes is, he became world champion back in 2015. He did everything you'd want to do in boxing. He had tons of money, family, mansions, cars, and he got home every day and he wanted to kill himself. He was battling a lot of battles. He would drink and do drugs. He just wasn't happy. All the titles in the world, all the millions and millions of dollars, the wives, the kids, the houses, the cars. And, he hit that rock bottom right after he was, if you saw from the outside, you'd be like, man, this guy had everything. And he made a comeback, and he says, I fight for all the depressed, all the oppressed, depressed, alcoholics, drug addicts. I fight to give them hope every day so they can wake up in the morning and know there's somebody out there fighting for us. I've been as low as anybody can go. I've been as high as anyone can go. And I'm here to tell you, you can always overcome that. I think that sums up
That's amazing. Yeah, but and what people also don't know, and I shared this with my friend Jen a couple times, I am not a wife. I'm not even a girlfriend right now. I don't have any kids. Even if I wanted to date, it's pretty much off the fucking table because first of all, no one wants to deal with a sick girl. I don't care how good she looks. Second of all, then you're dealing with chemo, and then, there's times like I can't be out in the sun for too long because then, I'm just going to burn. I can't just pick up and pack a bag. So my love life there's non-existent. Not that I had a good track record to begin with. And listen, the grass isn't always greener because if I were in a relationship, I'm sure I'd be like, fuck, I miss coming home to an empty house. But, sometimes it is lonely because sometimes I do just want to snuggle on a couch and watch a goddamn movie. Or I do want to go out and try some food, and so it is kind of lonely, But I have fantastic friends as well, so I'm getting used to that as well. And I'm not comfortable in my own skin because now here we have the summer, and I'm a beach person, and I'm struggling with the fact that when I think back to where I was this time last year. I'm a completely different person, and accepting that and getting used to that is a struggle every day for me. So, but before we go, we do have to talk about this bling bling I have on. Can everyone see this?
Oh, it goes with the boxing,
Can everyone
too.
see this? It is.
Not everybody's
So there.
watching.
Okay.
It is silver chain with boxing gloves.
It's bling bling everywhere it goes. Bling bling. So, my best friend Jen, who deals with my shenanigans, my video shenanigans, in her family there is a tradition. Her family, they've had to deal with cancers, and they have a pair of boxing gloves, and they pass on to each family member as they deal with whatever battle and fight they're having. And it's a family tradition for hers, in generations. And she was like, well, I'm not going to give Ange a pair of boxing gloves. So she went online and found this beautiful little trinket, a little necklace, and thought it was perfect and order it, not knowing it came out to be this massive bling bling. But you know what? I said, yeah, I'm going to fucking wear this. It's perfect. It is a perfect set of boxing gloves, but we just got a kick out of it because what was shown on the internet is something that came completely different. And, we're joking, we're like, yeah, all I need is a Rottweiler now or a pit bull and I'll be set.
You look like Flavor Flav or like Vanilla Ice, some kind of rapper. Chuck and Martell said he likes it. He's also a big fan of Vanilla Ice. Yeah, I feel like it goes with your whole thing now.
The way my hair's going, I might have the friggin' hairdo soon. So
you do your little videos. We can do
ice baby.
Some Vanilla Ice videos. That's my request for next.
Is that Vanilla Ice? All right.
Yeah, with the chain.
Huh. I'm gonna think about that. And then we also have to listen. We are a month away, almost less than a month away for this fundraiser, this Ride for Ange.
We got the flyer for your event.
Yeah.
We're gonna put it up for anybody listening.
Yes. So
or
it
anybody
is
watching.
June. It's Saturday, June 11th. We are less than a month away. Starts at 9:30 a.m. It's a Ride for Ange by the Punishers of LEMC Calverley, which I have spoken to a lot of those guys. We are friends on social media. They are just an amazing group of men and women and people in general. It's going to be at the VFW Post 2445 914 East Main Street, Maple Shade. You do not have to own a bike to show up. I'm going to be selling my t-shirts. I just ordered a whole bunch more. It's going to be $25 per rider per person, $30 for a rider with a passenger. So that's combined with a lunch and a one drink. Cash bar. I will repeat, cash bar. There's a 50-50. There's a DJ. There's a basket raffle. It is going to be a good time. Come, say hello. Buy a t-shirt. I am so excited for this fundraiser. So excited. Starts at 9:30.
Is that all?
That's it. Do you have something else to add to that?
No.
No?
We're all out of time.
Oh, we are. Oh my God, that went quick, huh?
But
We
for
did
anybody,
so much
I want you to
talking.
follow Jim Raffone's story,
Yes.
Jar of Hope. You can find it. You can Google Jim Raffone, Jar of Hope, JAR for James Anthony Raffone. He just got done going to Mount Everest. He's still raising awareness and funds for his kids' battle and for other kids' battle. So definitely check out Jar of Hope, Jim Raffone.
Badass.
And Hungry for Hope Nation. We will see you next
Next
Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're out of here.